Anti-static bag. What are they even? I can't even find it on my desk. See, check it out. I can see through it, but kind of not. Anyway, why did I do that? Because that stuff makes a really cool body on flies. The guys that are fishing lakes up in British Columbia know all about this. But we tied a smacker with it, and you're going to want to check it out.
Dude, that's a big brown throw!
This is a super cool fly that we've been playing with for a little bit, all based on this stuff. This is anti-static bag material, or ASB for short. It's super popular with people who fish chronomids, but we're going to tie a kind of a Euro nymph style. When people leave the shop, I typically say go smack them. All right, so this is called the ASB Smacker. All right, we could have come up with all kinds of other inappropriate names, but we're trying to be more mature around here. All right, first thing I'm going to do, a lot of times I'll like to put my thread on, and I just kind of like to wrap it up and create a little dam behind the bead. But we are going to do that with resin this time. So I'm going to just push that bead where I want it, and I've got a little bit of the Solar as thin. And I'll just kind of jam that where I want it. Now that should stay out of the way a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit more in there because I want the back of that to be filled up for the way that I do the black spot, like a Perdigon style spot. There's a new technique I'm going to show you that is going to change the game. I don't say that lightly, Brigham. I'm excited about this. Brigham. He's not impressed. Okay. Use red thread with this. You can use whatever color thread you want your hot spot to be, but red and orange are really good candidates. We're just going to tie in our standard Coq de Leon tail that you would see on multiple different types of Euro nymphs. I'm solidly on team like 5 fibers for this one. Some people say only 2, only 3. No, we're going to tie a little bushier tail on this one. Our rib for this is going to be some Semperfly point. What is this? The size is 0.2 millimeters. It's the March Brown flavor. We'll just tie that bad boy in. Now, for the anti-static bag, I cut a strip about like that. And if you look at it closely, there's a shiny side and a dull side. So I'm going to tie this so that the shiny side is touching the thread or touching the body. That way when I wrap it, it will kind of fold up over and the shiny side will be what shows. So we'll just wrap that back to the tail, come back forward a little bit, and we're going to unwind the thread a little and build a bit of a taper up to the bead here. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're just going to wrap this ASB over the top. So we'll get here. Now, I like to pull the first few wraps a little bit tight. We're just going to wrap that forward and tie it off. It'll stretch just a little bit, but not a ton. All right, now for the wire, I'm going to wrap that against the direction that I wrapped the ASB, and that just adds a little bit more durability to the fly. So once I come up here, I'll cross my thread over the top of that wire and see how the wire is going this direction. If I just make it go against where it came from, and it takes really tight thread wraps to get this to work, but I'm going to push it against where it came from and then just a light helicopter and it will break right off. No tag end, and it's pretty dang clean. At this point, we're just going to throw a whip finish in the fly. All right. Okay, now I'm going to introduce you to the Uni Posca paint pen. I learned about this one from our buddies at Fulling Mill, and this is the best way to get that black dot on a perdigon. I have a little hanger down on this, and when I'm using resin, I want to make sure the fly is super smooth. So I'm just going to hit that with a lighter real quick, and it will sufficiently burn out of the way. Let's see, one more. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to take this paint pen, and when you get these, the tip is white, so you have to push down, and you'll see it start to turn black. And I have to kind of brace my hand, but I'm just going to, color a black mark on top of the bead. There we go. So see that? We'll let it dry, and when it dries, it will go completely matte colored. What we're going to do now is I'm going to use some resin. I like the Solarez Thin, and I'm going to coat the body a little bit, but the first thing I'm going to do is come up and just coat over the top of that black part of the fly, and then a little bit down onto the bead, and then we'll just build up some resin. We're actually going to take some of this resin off of the fly. So once it's all coated, I'll just kind of rotate this. You can use your fingers if you want, or just have something to push on the sides of the fly to take some of that resin off further back. And that way those ribs show through. All right, so we're looking pretty good. And now we will just give that the old zap with the light. So there you have it. It's got a really cool color in the body with that anti-static bag. The pink bead that we love so much, and then, a really cool way to make a black dot on a perdigon.